Hi friends, in this video we will see this packet tracer activity, explore a network. Yeah friends, if you are watching our channel first time or if not yet subscribed, consider subscribing and don't forget to enable that bell icon near to the subscribe button so that you will get notification message whenever we upload a new video. Right, here we can see our objectives. Examine inter-network traffic at branch, then in central, then examine internet traffic from branch. We will come to part 1, examine inter-network traffic at branch. So here we can see branch. In part 1 of this activity, we will use simulation mode to generate web traffic and examine the HTTP protocol along with other protocols necessary for communications. Step 1, switching from real-time to simulation mode. Click the simulation mode icon to switch from real-time mode to simulation mode. So here we can see now we are in real-time, so we can switch to simulation mode. Then verify that ARP, DNS, HTTP and TCP are selected from the event list filters. So here we can see that ARP, DNS, HTTP and TCP event list filters. So it's correct. Move the slider located below the play controls button back to auto capture or play, capture or forward all the way to the right. Right, now we will go to step 2, generate traffic using a web browser. Currently the simulation panel is empty. In the event list at the top of the simulation panel there are 6 columns listed across the heading. So here we can see that simulation panel here and we can see it's empty. Here we can see these details as device, types, etc. Okay, as the traffic is generated and stepped through events display in the list, the info column is used to inspect the contents of a particular event. Okay, right, so here we cannot see this column info and we are using the latest packet tracer software. Here we given a note. The panel to the left of the simulation panel displays the topology. Use the scroll bars to bring the branch location into the panel if necessary. Okay, we can adjust and here we can see our branch. And the panels can be adjusted in size by hovering next to the scroll bar and dragging left or right. So we can do that if necessary. Next is click the sales PC in the far left pane, then click the desktop tab and click the web browser icon to open it. Then in the URL field enter this URL and click go. Look in the event list in the simulation panel. What is the first type of event listed? Okay, we will copy this URL and we will come to this PC sales desktop web browser and here we will give the URL. Then we will press go. And here we can see a different event listed here. It's a DNS and ARP. Next is click the DNS info box. In the outliers, DNS is listed for layer 7. Layer 4 is using UDP to contact the DNS server on port 53. Its destination port. Both the source and destination IP addresses are listed. What information is missing to communicate with the DNS server? So now we will go to this DNS info and we will verify these outliers. Coming to DNS and here we can see outliers. Here we can see the information, so layer 7 and we can see layer 4 UDP source port and destination port. Also here we can see IP source address and destination address, but here we cannot see the layer 2 information. that means the MAC address information. So this is what is missing here. Now click auto capture or play. In approximately 30 to 40 seconds, a window displays indicating the completion of the current simulation, or a window may display indicating that the buffer is full. Click the view previous events button, scroll back to the top of the list and note the number of ARP events. Looking at the device column in event list, how many of the devices in the branch location does the ARP request pass through? Okay, right, so now we will do this auto capture or play, and we will wait some time. And here we can see this is a DNS packet, goes back to sales. Now I will use this capture or forward so that we can move faster. Yes, now we can see the current simulation is completed. And now we will find how many of the devices in the branch location does the ARP request. So we'll go to the top, and here we can see ARP, then DNS. So here we can see a device, sales, IP phones, switch, branch server, IP phones, laser, wireless AP, R4, guest, switch 4, accounting, smartphone, IP phone 0, sales. So here we can see almost all the devices received this ARP packet. Now we will go to F. Scroll down the events in the list to the series of DNS events. Select the DNS event that has the at device listed as branch server. Click the square box in the info column. What can be determined by selecting layer 7 in the OSI model? Look at the results displayed directly below in layers. Right, we will search for this DNS event here. Here we can see DNS, and here we can see at the device branch server. So we will go to info. Here in this in layers, we will click on this layer 7 DNS, and here we can see the information. The DNS server receives a DNS query. The name queried resolved locally. Next is click the outbound PDU details tab. Scroll to the bottom of the window and locate the DNS answer section. What is the address displayed? So we will go to this outbound PDU details. And here we can see DNS answer. and here we can see the IP address displayed here. It's 172.16.0.3. so this is the address of our branch server. Next is the next several events are TCP events, enabling a communications channel to be established. Select the last TCP event at device sales just prior to the HTTP event. Click the colored square info box to display the PDU information. Highlight layer 4 in the in-layers column. Looking at item 6 in the list directly below the in-layers column, what is the connection state? Right, so we will search for this TCP event. Here we can see many TCP events. So here we will search for the TCP at device sales. So here we can see TCP at sales. Even here we can see that sales. Just before this HTTP. So here we can see sales. Here we will go to the layer 4. Here we can see that. We will click on it. And here we can see the item 6. It's here. The device sets the connection state to established. Then the next several events are HTTP events. Select any one of the HTTP events at an intermediary device, maybe on IP phone or switch. How many layers are active at one of these devices and why? Right, we will go to any one of the HTTP event from the specified device, either IP phone or switch. So here we can see IP phone. We will click on this info, and here we can see it shows only 2 layers because these devices are all layer 2 devices. Even we can verify in S4. Yes, it's a layer 2 device. Right, next is select the last HTTP event at the sales PC. Select the uppermost layer from the OSI model tab. What is the result listed below in the in-layers column? Right, so here in this event list we can see the last HTTP. It's here at the device sales. So we will click on this info. Now we will click on this layer 7. And here we can see the result. The HTTP client receives a HTTP reply from the server. It displays the page in the web browser. Now we will come to part 2, examine inter-network traffic to central. In part 2 of this activity, we will use a packet tracer simulation mode to view and examine how traffic leaving the local network is handled. Coming to step 1, setup for traffic capture to the central web server. Close any open PDU information windows, then click Reset Simulation located near the middle of the simulation panel. So here we can see Reset Simulation. We will click on it. Now type this URL in the web browser of the sales PC. So we will copy this URL and coming to sales, we'll go to web browser. Then we will click go. Then click auto capture or play. In approximately 75 seconds, a window displays indicating the completion of the current simulation. Click view previous events. Scroll back to the top of the list. Note that the first series of events are DNS and there are no ARP entries prior to contacting the branch server. Based on what you have learned so far, why is this the case? Right, here we will give auto capture or play, or we can give capture or forward. Now here we can see we received this buffer full message. We will click view previous events. Yes, now coming to our simulation panel, here we can see before this DNS events, we cannot see any ARP events. Yes, because this sales PC already knows the MAC address of the DNS server. Next is click the last DNS event in the info column. Select layer 7 in the OSI model tab. So here we can see the DNS in this simulation panel. Then by looking at the information provided, what can be determined about the DNS results? We will go to layer 7 DNS and here we can see the details. The DNS client receives a DNS response. The received DNS response contains a resolved IP address for the queried domain. So here we can see the DNS was able to resolve the domain name for our central server. Next is click the inbound PDU details tab. Scroll down to the DNS answer section. What is the address listed for central server.pt.pka? So coming to our PDU information, and we will go to inbound PDU details. Then we will go to DNS answer section. And here we can see the IP address. It's 10.10.10.2. Then the next several events are ARP events. Click the colored square info box of the last ARP event. Click the inbound PDU details tab and note the MAC address. Based on the information in the ARP section, what device is providing the ARP reply? Okay, we will close this window and coming to our simulation panel, here we can see ARPs. Here, the router R4, that is the gateway device, provides this ARP reply. The next several events are TCP events. Once again, preparing to set up a communication channel, find the first HTTP event in the event list. Click the colored square box of the HTTP event. Highlight layer 2 in the OSI model tab. What can be determined about the destination MAC address? Right, so coming to our simulation panel, we will search for the first HTTP event. Here we can see that we will click on this colored square box. So here we will come to layer 2 in the OSI model. Here we can see that, and here we can see the destination MAC address. So it is the MAC address of our router R4. Next is click the HTTP event at device R4. Notice that layer 2 contains an Ethernet 2 header. Click the HTTP event at device intranet. What is the layer 2 listed at this device? Okay, here we can see R4 HTTP. We'll click on it, and here we can see that. Here we can see layer 2 information. In outliers we can see frame relay. Okay, now we will go to intranet HTTP. So here we can see in layer 2 frame relay. Right, notice that there are only 2 active layers as opposed to 3 active layers when moving through the router. This is a one connection which will be discussed in a later course. Right, so we will go to part 3, examine internet traffic from branch. In part 3 of this activity, we will clear the events and start a new web request that will make use of the internet. Step 1, set up for traffic capture to an internet web server. Close any open PDU information windows, then click reset simulation near the middle of the simulation panel. Then we have to type this URL in the web browser of the sales PC. Coming to our simulation panel, we will reset the simulation. Okay, right. Then we will copy this URL. Coming to our sales PC, we'll go to a browser. Here is our URL. Then we will click go. Next is click auto capture or play. In approximately 75 seconds, a window displays indicating the completion of the current simulation. Click view previous events. Scroll back to the top of the list. Notice that the first series of events are DNS. What do you notice about the number of DNS events? Sure, we will give this a capture or forward. Coming to our simulation panel, here we can see DNS events. Oh, we have a number of DNS. Here we can see more number of DNS because the DNS entry is not local. It is forwarded to a server on the internet. Next is observe some of the device that the DNS events travel through on the way to a DNS server. Where are these devices located? So here we can see those DNS sales IP phones S4 run server. Okay. Here we can see the device ISP-Tier 3A, and we can see these devices are located in the internet cloud. So here we will go to our cloud. And here we can see ISP-Tier 3A. Right, so we will go back. Right, next is click the last DNS event. Click the inbound PDU details tab and scroll down to the last DNS answer section. What is the address listed for www.netacad.pta? Coming to our simulation panel, we will search for the last DNS here. Here we can see the last DNS. We will click on it. And here we will go to inbound PDU details and we will go to the last section, DNS answer, and here we can see the IP address. It's a 216.146.46.11. Next is click the TCP event just prior to the last HTTP event. Based on the information displayed, what is the purpose of this event? Next is when routers move the HTTP event through the network. There are three layers active in both the in layers and out layers in the OSI model tab. Based on that information, how many routers are passed through? Here there are three routers such as ISP Tier 3A, ISP Tier 3B and R4. Okay, we will search for the last HTTP. It's here, and here we can see the TCP prior to this last HTTP. So we'll click on it and we'll see the information. We can see the purpose of this event is to close the TCP connection to 216.146.46.11. There are several more TCP events listed. Locate the TCP event where the last device is IP phone and the device at is sales. Click the colored square info box and select layer 4 in the OSI model tab. Based on the information from the output, what is the connection state set to? Coming to our simulation panel, here we can see the last device IP phone and at device sales. So we will go to the info, we'll click on it. Here in this OSI model, we will go to layer 4. Here we can see that. And here we can see the connection state set to. The device sets the connection state to closing. So it's closing. Yes, so that's all in this packet tracer activity. So just stay tuned for the future videos. We will meet again with the next video. Thank you.